So I'm going to share with y'all all the sales that I made on all of the platforms that I sell on in the last 10 days of July. I'm liking this easy to remember for my overloaded brain. So this is going to be from July 22nd until July 31st. And we're going to start with Poshmark first because that is the platform I made the fewest sales. As in I made one sale on it. And it was this beautiful, whopping, just absolutely astronomical sale of $5. By the way, Moxie is here, if you can't tell. $5 for this clear glass boot. This was actually free. Well, I consider it free because it was from an online auction that I did during quarantine. And the whole reason I bought this glass lot was for 4 glass bake mugs. If you ever find glass bake soup mugs in like really cool like 60s, 70s patterns, they sell for good money. That set actually I think I sold for either $30 or $40. That was the whole reason I bought the lot for $2. Either way, this is free. And if you don't know, if you've never sold on Poshmark, Poshmark, if it's under $15, takes a flat rate of $2.95 for anything that amount. So yes, I took home $2.05 from the sale, but I saved one thing from getting smashed and trashed. And that's our goal here. So now we're gonna move over to Etsy. I sold 2 things on Etsy for these 10 days, which surprised me too. So this is a great example of why sometimes waiting for the right buyer can pay off, especially if you have the space, which lucky me I do, otherwise I would be in a lot of trouble with my death pile. But I found this pair of Adam Johnson shoes, and these were vintage from the 60s. If you don't know, I really am into history costuming. So like, I love vintage fashion, I love antique fashion, I love historical fashion, and when I saw these, I scooped them the heck up. I actually paid $5 for these shoes, and you see that I sold them on Etsy for $50. Now my store on Etsy is set up to where I have free shipping for anything $35 and up, which definitely not a problem for this pair of shoes. I sent it priority mail. It only cost $8 to send this pair of shoes. So after the $5 and the $8 and the 10% platform fees, I still made over $30 on this pair of shoes. I have a mostly empty shoe rack to my left, so still have plenty of space to keep them. And Etsy is definitely one of those places where if it's something that is going to need to wait for the right buyer, or if it's something I know is going to take a while, I just set it and forget it. Perfectly happy to do so. So this did take 1.5 years to sell, but I got my full asking price for it. And I know for a fact it went to someone who loves historical dress and immediately used them for a photo shoot. So big happy there. And this item is something that I've talked about on my channel before. One of the things that I like to do with vintage items is find a modern use for them. So I went to, I believe, the Dav, and it was a bunch of these little appetizer bowls with a giant big monkey pod bowl. And the large bowl and the little tiny bowls were marked separately because the Dav likes to do that sometimes. And the giant bowl was damaged, severely damaged. So I just bought all of the little bowls, and they look like spoon rests. I don't know about you, but even though I know what they were, they look like spoon rests. So that is what I marketed them as, is vintage Hawaiian tiki bar spoon rests for someone's Airbnb or beach house or just kitchen in general. And yeah, I sold 2 of them to the same buyer. They paid $16 and then paid $11 for shipping. So my less than $1 purchase per piece paid off for me, and I am now sold out of these. I have sold all of these. I got 5 originally. So yeah, it did take a little while to sell all of them, like 1.5 years, again, like the shoes, but they didn't take up that much space. And I'm saving stuff from getting trashed because I'm sure if someone tried to buy all of it, it wouldn't have worked out. But now we're gonna move to eBay, which is where I made the most sales, and I like clutched it at the end of the month because I started listing. And if this is distracting to you, it is to me too, which is why I keep petting her, because otherwise she starts screaming. as if you've been here for a while, you would know that. So I sold this brand new pair of Columbia pants. They were 32s. I paid less than $1 for them at the Air Force retirees house. They sold for an offer of $17, and the buyer paid for padded flat rate envelope, so they paid for shipping. I think that's a pretty nice return on my less than $1 investment. And then in a different estate sale in Smithfield, which I paid less than $1 for this shirt, sold for $10.50 on offer, and the buyer again paid for shipping. So another demonstration of the $1 buy cost. Most resellers will tell you that your money is made on the buy, and the estate sales this year have been making me a pretty nice amount of money. And you can still make money even if you have a slightly higher buy cost. So these Quicksilver volley shorts, I purchased retail arbitrage. I paid $7 for them at Ross. They sold for $19, and the buyer paid for shipping. And this Limoges ring trinket dish, a lot of Limoges sells pretty well. Certain areas, like certain makers in Limoges, by the way, Limoges is an area in France. So just so you know, just like they do wines by the appellations, so the area of France, so you can have both white, rose, and red Bordeaux. Sounds like I'm saying bird dog. Bordeaux. It's based on the region in France in which it is made. Same thing with Limoges. And this had Notre Dame on the front. If you did not know, Notre Dame, I think in 2018, the large part of it burned down, and they are working on rebuilding it. So I figured somebody would want this that remembers Notre Dame. I paid 50 cents for this at an estate sale, because of course I did. So it sold for $7. And again, in my area, a lot of glass and ceramics get smashed and trashed if I don't purchase it. So I'm glad I found it a new home. And then this is a Wallen & Bros new men's extra large, like just plain AF button down. The only reason I picked this up is because it was cheap. I think it was like $3 or $4, and it was new with tags, and it was a Nordstrom brand. So I doubled my money on this, even offering free shipping. You can tell how old this is by the fact that I offered free shipping for this. If you are new here, there are many resellers that offer free shipping. I did it for a very long time if it weighed less than a pound, and I am moving away from that model, mostly because of Tommy Bernard. So if you don't watch his podcast with Tracy Parks, I would highly recommend it. They have a lot of amazing resellers on to chat about reselling and current events and the community, and you learn a lot of really great stuff there. At least I have. So $17.87 free shipping, more than doubled my money. Happy it's gone. And then I got this new Sigrid Olsen. I have no idea what that brand is. I think it sold at like Kohl's or someplace like that. The only reason I picked this up is because size, style, and the fact that it was new with tags. So 90s is super in. This was a size women's large. If you don't know, the Stripy shirts I don't know if I'm gonna like maybe probably make the thing go away for a minute so you guys can see. So this is a vintage 90s stripy shirt. So this gave me very 90s vibes. 90s are still very in. This also had a cute little like lettuce hem lace on the edges, which made it even more precious, and it was a good size, and it was pastel. So I paid $3 for this at New to You Thrift in Williamsburg, and it sold for $15, and the buyer paid for shipping. So I made decent money off of this, and it actually didn't take that long to sell. Speaking of something that surprisingly did not take that long to sell, even though I should not be surprised by that, is this J. Crew skirt. I wish my butt wasn't so big, although I know the boy would not agree with me there. Mostly because I would have kept this. This was an absolutely wonderful linen cotton blend A-line pleated skirt with cute little sailor styling details in the front. And Victoria picked this out for me, and then it didn't fit, but I was like, it'll still sell. I believe I paid $4 for this skirt, well, less than $4 because their prices are weird in Mississippi, but it sold for $12.64 and the buyer paid for shipping. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I more than doubled my money for it, and this sold within a week of listing it. And if I can double my money in less than a week, that's a good sale. J. Crew isn't as strong of a brand as it used to be, but if you price things correctly and it is in season and on trend, you can still make money from it. And then the very last thing I'm going to share with you is this new with tags Nike golf piece. I think I also got this at New to You Thrift, but I'm not 100% sure about that. This sold for my full asking price of $19.87, and the buyer paid for shipping. If I did get it at New to You Thrift, that means I also paid $3 for this. So again, made some very good money off of this piece. And I'm very happy. This is a golf women's polo, also good size large, and it moved again within like a week or two of listing it, and actually for my full asking price. So I'm very happy about that. But those were all of my sales on all of my platforms to finish out the month. My next video following this one is going to be my reseller recap. So if you want to find out the actual amount of money that I took home for the month of July, definitely stick around to watch that video. I will just preface this and spoil it slightly by saying it is the best month I've had reselling ever. So it does, if I could make this much money that I made in July every month and then grow from there, full-time doesn't look that far away. So you guys have an amazing day doing whatever it is you're doing. Thank you all so very much for being here, and until next time, bye. I'm so sorry. You wanted pets, you didn't want play or pickup. Do you see how she is looking at me right now? Like, betrayed. I'm sorry. I will give you pets. My bad. Bye. Jeez. Rude.